Hey, Dr. Adam Zilkler here, CEO and founder of Firegang Dental Marketing. Hey, listen, I had an opportunity to sit down with one of our newer clients this morning and ask him a bunch of questions on why he chose Firegang versus some of his experiences with other marketing companies before us, and then just what his journey's been like. He's only a few months in, but it really tries to tell the story of how we operate as a company. He talks about the results he's seen, his experiences with us. He even goes into what he's spending in some areas and what it's meant for him. So I hope you enjoy. Give it a listen, and hopefully we hear from you afterwards. Thank you. So let me start this off by just starting. We'll kind of start way back at the beginning and kind of work our way through, like maybe now, if you will. So give me an idea of like what caused you to start your search for an internet marketing company.
Our online presence was just lacking a lot. And I came in, I work with my dad, so I joined his practice about 2 years ago almost. And I just wasn't getting the patient flow that I thought we should. And I was doing some other random outreach things, doing symposiums and stuff. But I've always kind of been in charge of the online marketing scheme. And we tried Sesame, we tried a couple other companies, and they just failed miserably. And I actually got an email that said something about your book. It said, hey, here, have a free copy. So I ordered it and got it for free. And I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So then we set up another meeting with y'all to say, hey, what can y'all do for us? And y'all killed it in that presentation, just showing me all the stuff that I feel like our other companies weren't doing, didn't even understand about the algorithm of Google and being a trustworthy site. So we decided to give it a shot with y'all, and so far it has paid off, and it's awesome. I mean, we've doubled our new patients pretty much, and we're just, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy so far with y'all.
What concerns? So let me step back. So you kind of touched on this, but what did you think about the overall process? It sounds like it went pretty smooth. You got the book. You got we hopped on a couple calls, and then you kind of took some time to figure out which direction you wanted to go. What was that whole process like for you guys?
It was pretty simple for me because I'm relatively young and I sort of get the whole technological necessities of today's marketplace. For my dad, it took a little more time and a little more. He's, that's it, to know is whatever, and to do is to understand. So I think once he kind of dove in with y'all and saw the numbers, and y'all showed us sort of the gears behind it, that's kind of what made him realize, well, okay, maybe we need to do something different here. But it was a relatively smooth process. Y'all obviously demonstrated what value you had and what you could change for us, and where we were lacking. So it was, I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer. For the other people involved, it took a little bit of time, but they've seen the results, so definitely.
So you guys have been with other marketing companies before us. I'm sure that played a role. We get that a lot. A lot of dentists say, I've been burned and things didn't work out. How are you any different? And that's kind of our biggest obstacle in a lot of cases. What big concerns did you have coming into this?
One of the best things y'all did for us was basically that presentation, because you showed us, number one, you interacted with us in a way that the other companies have not. So that was awesome. You really made us felt like we were important to you, and you had really done a lot of investigative work on our website and on our the trustworthiness of our website and all of that. And that's just something that, like, our companies, it has just been a mystery the whole time, the whole way through. Like, they never did anything like that. They never told us how they were going to change things. We have one guy that comes in probably once a year and says, hey, you want us to like re-up and revamp your whole thing? And I'm like, okay, how are you going to do it? And it's just like, they can't tell us anything about it. So that's what it was for me. That's what sold me on it, was like, these guys know exactly what they're doing. They familiarize themselves with the algorithm.
So give me an idea of like your results. What did you start to see, and what was that experience like?
Well, in the first 3 months of this year, we've already had the same number of new patients that we had in the last 7 months of last year. So, I mean, it's doubled our new patient intake. It's our online presence is killing it because we're like at the top of Google now, and our Google ad is at the top of Google. So, and I've cleared my caches and cookies and gone incognito to figure this out. So, yeah, I mean,
How have you been able to attribute it back to our work or the marketing that we're doing?
So a lot of our patients, especially recently, even just today, tell me that they've gone on to read our reviews and they're just raving about us. So initially, I think we lost like 25 or so reviews because Dentrix didn't have it integrated to our Google website.
Right.
So we just kept at it for like a few days until we got Podium up and running. And since we got Podium, I think we've already gotten like 40 more reviews just in the last month. So it's been, and that's been pretty helpful because number one, it helps the Google My Business activity staying pretty constant. So we're getting that flow. And it's increasing our Google ranking. And at the same time, people are coming in just because of our reviews.
Yeah, you know, our process is specifically designed to get people in the door. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is how all these little things play a role, some larger than others. But when they come together as a cohesive effort and plan, it really, really separates you in a marketplace. And it makes kind of that decision-making process a no-brainer. When they're shopping, when patients are shopping, it's like, you know, who are you going to use? The guy that's got a ton of reviews or the guy that doesn't? And then you go to the site and it reinforces that. And then you call the front desk and they're doing a great job. And, you know, next thing you know, they're a patient. So really good stuff. Let's just quickly, we're almost through the questions here. So you kind of gave me your experience with redoing the website. You said you didn't like the old one. There was a lot of work. Overall, what was the experience of kind of reworking the site? And I'll preface that with, we get a lot of people that are kind of, they had a site, they thought they liked it because, it looked pretty to them. But when we broke it down, it was missing a lot of the elements that we know that patients are looking for. So what would you say to that, and kind of what's been your experience with that?
Well, our former website was pretty awesome for the early 2000s.
Okay.
But, I think they made a Google file for me, and I went around because we had just renovated the office too, just before we started all this marketing stuff. So I took a bunch of pictures just on my iPhone, dropped them into the Google Drive. I sent Becky an example website of one that we liked that y'all had done for it was like the Alaska, I forget.
Anchorage Midtown?
Yeah, Anchorage Midtown. And
Okay.
I really enjoyed that website. So I asked them if they could kind of make ours mimic that one. And so I just gave them all the pictures, the bios and all that stuff. And I mean, they just made it happen. So for me, it was relatively painless. All I had to do was submit a few things and tell them what I liked.
The big thing to that, that you guys did really well, and I would commend you for this too, is we asked for a lot of this content because we don't fly people out to go get photos when people can do like you do and take them from your phone, right? I mean, you don't need a professional photographer in most of these cases, or videographer. But you got us that content, and we know that content is it's very impactful. And that's one of the things that's allowed us to move quickly. Is it feels like, from what I've seen, you guys have just kind of taken our advice and just executed, and you didn't really push back. You just said, hey, I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm just going to get you what you're asking for, and then we can just take it and run. And that's one of the things I think that's been so helpful here. So what about has Becky had time to really work with your staff on your phone coaching yet?
She has, as much as she listens to phone calls, and I mean, we've had a lot of interaction with her, but she's been very positive about our staff and the way they've answered the phone. And she honestly thinks that we don't need a whole lot of call coaching, and she's actually learned a lot of things from our front desk. And I mean, they've been doing it for so long, they kind of, you know, I think Carrie's been doing it for almost 20 years now, so she knows sort of what to expect when she picks up the phone and how to work with people. And a lot of our patients know her, so they know who they're talking to.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I think as far as call coaching, it's probably something that we're gonna drop in the next few months because it's pretty much there.
Yeah. For some practices that, you know, what we basically have benchmarks, and once they hit those and they're consistent with those, that's what we're after, right? And that's what we want to see. Most practices we deal with, they struggle there. The other thing that's nice about that, though, is, and you kind of touched on this, is that we then, when we're doing it, we're hearing what your staff is saying, but more importantly, what prospective patients are saying. So in a lot of cases, we hear them ask about certain, you know, insurances or payment options or things like that, and the staff isn't equipped to give them the right answers, or the practice doesn't have things in place. For example, a financing option, or potentially another insurance carrier that people are looking for, and we can provide that feedback, and that could be a point of conversion for a tremendous amount of new patients that you otherwise wouldn't have known about, right? Because typically when the staff just gets those, they're like, yeah, we don't offer this, have a nice day, and that person moves on forever, but nobody's really checking to see, is there an opportunity there that we may be missing? And there's obviously value in that. So trying to almost wrapping up here. What's been your experience with the CSM? You've got Becky. What's been kind of your overall experience having that person in your court? And you had other marketing companies before. I'm not sure how they dealt with this, but having kind of a direct point of contact with someone.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I remember when we were struggling with our last company, there was at one point I got somebody on the phone, our rep, whoever, and I told him, all right, look, I know you have like 5 different departments. Give me our point of contact for those different departments. Give me their emails and their numbers. With Becky, it's a whole different story. It's so nice having just one point of contact, and she does the rest. It's a huge relief, and it's like, it makes it, you know, the work on our end so much less. And I mean, we understand that y'all outsource certain things to certain people that you trust, and you know they do a good job with it. So we've been very comfortable with that. It has been real easy for us.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, I mean, I love it.
So you mentioned that this whole program was a little expensive. I think I saw that in a Google review or something like that. Understandable. We hear that, you know, compared to other marketing companies, we're a little bit more money. You know, can you talk to that, kind of your perception going in, and what you might say to those that are kind of thinking the same thing?
It takes money to make money, baby. I think you know, sure, we buy all the bells and whistles, and that's just part of it. So, you know, if you want to do big things, you have to invest, and you have to do your research and find a partner that works with you. And I mean, I wasn't worried about the price because we had been paying for yellow pages and other things that just have not worked well. So that was all just kind of money wasted. This money I knew was going to be very well spent, and it has been so far. So I have no qualms with that.
Wonderful. So just a few more questions and we're done here. But so we have dentists on the fence all the time, comparing us to other companies. You know, even the same month that you guys signed up, remember the month you guys signed up, talking to a handful of others, and some just didn't ever move. They still haven't today. But what would you tell those that are on the fence?
Keep struggling with the horrible companies that you're working with if you don't want to see results. But seriously, if you're on the fence, man, just go for it. If it doesn't work out, you know, you can always do something different. But I'm so happy that we moved forward because we've had fantastic results, and we haven't had to struggle, and it's not a mystery, you know, it's all been taken great care of. If you're on the fence, just go for the presentation. You know, I think it was like, you know, $400, $500, $600, whatever. And you get to keep that presentation. So if you feel like you can do it better yourself, then don't hire Firegang. But I'm telling you, you'll get fantastic results. If you just stick with it, if you do what they tell you to, you know, I mean, we're well ahead of a lot of other people in our area, probably most other people in our area, because of the advice and the work that we've done with Firegang. So I don't know.
Yeah, we one of the big things that we get is a perceived lack of trust. Dentists that have been burned by other companies before, and they perceive that they're going to get that same type of result with us. They're going to get burned, or what we're telling them they don't really need, or somebody else is coming in at a third the cost or even less, and they can do the same thing for less money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both companies are offering a website, so that means that they're the same. Both companies are offering SEO or paid ads. It means they're the same. So you've had, I mean, you had other companies you've mentioned. Anything else that you would speak to that?
I have personally worked with Sesame and OfficeSite and some of these other companies. They do not do what y'all have done for us, and y'all demonstrated your value from the start. You have executed on that value. I don't know what else to say. I'm very pleased with the results. Now I haven't gone back. I don't think we've compared production, but it's definitely going to be a lot higher. The service that y'all provide with us is going to pay for itself easily. And we're just building the practice, for another dentist to be here. So, hands down, the best experience we've ever had with any SEO company. And, I would say your reputation precedes you.
Awesome. So one of the things that I'll mention too is the work that we're doing now, it typically compounds and it gets better over time. You'll rank better. We'll refine what we're doing as we work with you in your practice. So ideally, we're going to just continue this momentum, and year 2, year 3, we see. I mean, if you look at like the case study for Anchorage Midtown, I mean they're good at like $8 million a year. So you can just continue to scale that up. Well, this has been awesome. So so basically, you guys, just to recap, have you've seen great results. It sounds like you've doubled your new patient count. I believe we've installed or set you guys up with practice analytics through Sika. Is that right? Do you guys have that?
Not that I recall.
I'm not sure. Then maybe that wasn't an option that we elected for. It might be something that we look at some point, and then we would be able to break down what production's doing and how it's relating back to a lot of this. And that's something that I can have Becky kind of run by you and show you. It's something that we want to look at so that we can see behind the scenes into the practice management system. So we'll talk to you about that. Anything else though? Any other questions or anything else that you'd want to say, or anything else I can answer for you at this point?
So there is one thing I'll add, is that we actually have had to not add any more specials, like new patient specials, because of the volume that we're getting now. So if we had more chairs and more people here, we would add some more specials or something. But Becky was on us for a while because we didn't add that third special, and we were talking about it the other day. We can't yet. If things start slowing down a little bit, maybe we'll throw another one in. But it's been.
You might think about tweaking those maybe then to more desirable types of patients, implants or cosmetic or something that has a higher ticket to attract and get more of those in the door as like a third option.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time here. I'll wrap this up by saying that, you guys have been an incredible executor in what we've asked of you. And I believe 1,000,000% that is why you guys have done so well so quickly. We have people that ask us, I have dentists ask me all the time, well, what happens? Like, what do you see when you guys don't get results or the practice doesn't get results from your campaign? And it's always the same thing. They don't follow our advice. They don't get us what we need, and they don't seem to work together in that partnership role. They don't follow advice or get us on the phones with their staff or things like that, right? If we come back and say, listen, here's the things that we need, or here's what we think that you should change, because we've seen it 1,000 times. Sometimes, they believe they know better, or they just don't want to do the work. And you see that with any demographic in any industry, right? So you guys have kind of just said, hey, I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm going to, we invested the money. I'm going to trust that you know what you're doing. And you guys have just executed. And when practices do that, it's always, I mean, there's usually videos like this. The last thing is you guys went for the largest program. You kind of went all in, but that's typically the ones that get the best results. Just like anything, you buy the most expensive sport car, you're probably going to get the fastest car. And so it's just kind of that. And so I commend you guys for that. I'm not saying that everyone has to do that, but typically that's what we see. That's what I see. And, you know, just following the direction of us and our staff and Becky. And, you know, we've done this a million times, and we typically know what works and what doesn't. So just, I hate to say blind trust, but just trust it. And then, as you mentioned, you know, companies like, well, this, you know, sit down and talk to us. But, or maybe they can call you or someone else, you know.
Sure.
So
yeah, send them my way. I'll tell them.
Wonderful. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's it, man.
Sweet. All right.